As entrepreneurs, one of the absolute most difficult things to grasp, especially when you're first starting out, is how much to charge for your services. Are you charging too much? Charging too little? Do you charge hourly by the project? What is a fair rate? Now, unfortunately, there is no correct answer to any of these questions. Pricing is just tricky because it's a little bit different for every business, every industry, and really every situation. But there are some universal mistakes when it comes to pricing that you definitely want to avoid. And that is exactly what we're gonna cover in this video. So let's talk about 3 major pricing mistakes and how to avoid them. Before we dive in, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on another video. Pricing is difficult. But why is it so difficult? Well, for starters, if you're offering custom services like photography or consulting, then you aren't selling a tangible product, right? There's no formula or equation that you can learn in a book. They'll spit out exactly how much your skills are worth. You can't say, all right, so this photograph cost me $1 to make, and at a 300% markup, I should be charging $3 per photo and just have perfect profit margins. No, I wish it was that simple. That'd be great, but it's not. You have to factor in your time, your equipment costs, your cost of doing business, your expertise. The list goes on and on and on. But it doesn't even stop there, right? Figuring out how much you should charge is only half the battle. The other half is finding people who are actually willing to pay what you deserve. Now, there are a ton of different factors that go into the psychology of a consumer and what we're willing to pay for and why, but ultimately it comes down to one thing: perceived value. Let's get one thing straight here. You deserve to get paid what you're worth. You've got skills, you got experience, and you got bills to pay. What separates businesses that make it and those that don't is the ability to communicate the value that you bring to the table and really being able to convince customers that what you offer is worth paying for. But if you're making one of these major mistakes we're going to talk about in this video, then you're setting yourself up for failure from the very beginning. All right, so let's jump into it. Mistake number 1 is charging with your heart and not with your mind. So the number 1 mistake that I see people make and that I've made myself in my 10 plus years of running my own business is that so often it's so easy to charge what we think feels or sounds right with no clue of how much we actually need to charge, right? You might think that your photos are worth $2,500 per wedding, right? That feels good. It's a number that I'm happy with. I'm not embarrassed to say it out loud. I feel confident in that number. But then if you actually start like digging deeper into what that number actually means, like you start asking some questions like, how much do you have to pay for your bills every month? Did you consider taxes in that number? Or what about healthcare? And then the next thing you know it, when you've actually crunched the numbers, $2,500 is not feasible to live the way that you want to live. You cannot survive on that much money unless you shoot 50 weddings a year, which may be fine, but if you only shot 12 weddings last year, then that's not going to work. Or if you've got kids and you want to be at all their soccer games, then you definitely can't shoot 50 weddings a year. So then what? Then what do you do? The solution is you work backwards. Figure out how much money you need or want to make, then determine your pricing based off that. So for example, if you want to make $100,000 a year, just pick a nice round number, and you want to shoot 25 weddings per year, then you need to be charging $4,000 per wedding. Now, I'm not going to factor in taxes for this example just for simplicity, but you get the idea, right? Now, this might seem overly simplified or might seem too elementary, but it's going to give you the confidence that you need to charge what you're worth because you know what it is that you need to make. This thought process can also make those really big numbers feel a little bit less daunting. Making $100,000 a year might sound like a lot to you, right? That might seem like a ton of money. But if you break it down monthly, it's only $8,333 a month. So if you have 4 retainer clients, that means you need to average $2,100 per client to make your goal of $100,000 a year. So this knowledge gives you power. So when that really cool client comes knocking with a $1,200 per month budget, you know that that client is not going to be helping you reach your income goal. Okay, so if you crunch all these numbers and the number that you need to charge seems really daunting to you or way more than you might think that you can charge, keep watching because the next mistake might actually help you realize that you're closer to charging that big number than you might think. Mistake number 2, thinking that less is more. Another big mistake I see all the time is people trying to charge as little as possible because they think it'll make them a more appealing option to a potential client. Well, there are some instances in life where people are drawn to the cheapest option, It really honestly is not often the case. Let's use this example. If you're looking at 2 hotels to stay in for an upcoming vacation, and the options are $150 a night or $39 a night, what conclusions would you draw from these 2 options? I really don't think that you would think, oh boy, $39 a night, what a steal. That's exactly where I want to stay with my kids. No, you would probably think the room is probably gross, they probably have stains on all the sheets, and I better pray that I don't get bed bugs, right? Now, is this necessarily going to be true? Maybe, maybe not, but you've already made up in your mind that there is no way you're staying at the $39 a night hotel. And the same thing happens in business all the time. We think that by lowering our prices super low, people will book us more. But usually, the opposite is true. Even if the service or work that we offer is the same quality, or even honestly sometimes better than someone else who's charging more, clients will often assume that there is either something wrong with the cheap option or that it must be too good to be true. But the opposite is also true. If you're looking at 2 hotel options and one is $500 a night, and one is $150 a night, you would expect a lot more from the $500 a night option, right? I'm talking valet parking. Someone's gonna bring my bags to the room. I want a mint on my pillow and a bottle of champagne with a handwritten note waiting for me when I come to the room, right? Okay, maybe not all of those things, but you get the idea. If you're gonna charge the big bucks, you gotta back it up. So, what's the solution? Your pricing needs to accurately reflect your perceived value. Charging less than your actual value is not going to attract more customers, so be confident to raise those prices. You'd be surprised, you might actually start booking more and charging more, aka a dream come true, right? But be careful not to overcharge. If you want to charge the big bucks, you better be able to back it up, which leads me to my final point. Mistake number 3, forgetting that value does not equal reality. Remember how I said at the very beginning that this whole pricing thing is really hard? Well, this is a big reason why, okay? Perception is not reality. Is a 10-cent mint on my pillow, a $7 bottle of champagne, and a $1 piece of stationery really worth an extra $350 a night? Heck no. But does it make me feel like I'm getting my money's worth? Absolutely. It might not seem like it, but having a professionally designed website, using a custom domain for your email instead of a Google one, sending a well-branded PDF pricing guide as opposed to just typing out the numbers into an email, all add to that perceived value that we're talking about. Even little things like the typeface that you use in your logo, the specific word choice that you use in your emails, the types of images that you post on social media, all of these things contribute to your perceived value and ultimately what customers are willing to pay. Far too often people neglect their brand's appearance and just assume that the work will speak for itself. And sadly, that's just not gonna happen in today's day and age. Don't get me wrong, making good work is still really important. You need to focus on making good work as well, but relying solely on the quality of your work and nothing else is not a recipe for success. I used to see this all the time with wedding photographers. 2 photographers who have the exact same equipment, they shoot in the exact same style, edit the exact same way, but one charges $2,000 per wedding and one charges $10,000 per wedding. Now, is the $10,000 wedding photographer creating images that are 500% better? No way. But I can almost guarantee you that they offer a better overall experience, have a better online presence, and therefore people are willing to pay more. So, what's the solution for you? You need to look critically at your own business and recognize the areas that you are failing to show your value. This goes all the way back to the first point. If you know you need to charge $2,100 per client to meet your financial goals, but you're currently only charging $1,000 per client, something needs to change. You either need to raise your prices with confidence to match the quality of your current work, or you need to figure out some ways to raise your perceived value. Look at your website, your social media, your client flow, and even the actual work that you're producing. What areas can you adjust to create a higher perceived value? None of this is easy, and we could probably make 4 or 5 other videos on the psychology of pricing, how to structure your pricing guides, etc. Maybe we will. But for now, definitely check out the HoneyBook blog post called How to Price a Service in 6 Easy Steps. I'll link that down below. That'll give you some practical tips to follow. And of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more business advice. Thanks for watching.